mess with the chips.
Yeah, we got it now. We got it now.
What's going on?
What's going on? It's your boy Sean.
It's your boy Troy.
We tapped in. We tapped
Hey,
in.
welcome
Boom,
back.
boom. Got on a little bit of the merch today.
Yes, sir.
Tapped in shirt. So, man, what's been going on?
Man,
Oh, before we get into it, go like us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Please comment, share. We've been seeing people out in these streets. They've been
Yes, sir.
telling us they've been tapping in, but we don't have no comments to show for it. So, let's run the numbers up.
Let's
So,
do it.
we just want y'all to tap in, show the love, and just share it with people. We just try to have insightful conversations, that, are evergreen. You can come back and watch these conversations at any point in time, for the most part.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No doubt. Man, I'm still psyched off these playoffs, man. They panning out to be something different.
They are, man. The crazy thing is, so last night, yesterday, my son had a game about an hour and a half away. Get a call. I'm not there at the game. You know what I mean? Get a call at AD or the trainer. Like, hey, got hit on the wrist with the stick. I think he might have a fractured wrist. So they taking the AI DuPont. Everything worked out good. Just a bone bruise. No broken bones. But like on the way home, I just checked the score of the Celtics game. They was up 20 points again. So I was like, by the time I got home, I was like, I ain't even gonna watch that game.
Right.
I mean, well, actually, by the time I ain't even check the score no more. I was like, oh, they done. They get to blow these boys out. I ain't realized till this morning that the Celtics ended up losing that game.
Yeah. When it started first series, you asked me who I like.
Mm-hmm.
And I know who my team is. I like the Knickerbockers. for real. I just see something, man, early on, man. They scrappy, man. And it's like, the boys, man, they don't stop.
They don't, man. But man, the Celtics got to figure it out. I didn't watch the game. I didn't see any clips, so I can't say, okay, well, what they could or should have done. But that other game, that next game, man, you could went to sleep on it. And
they got too much talent, though, man.
You could went to sleep first quarter. Yeah, I mean, they blew them out.
What would you say to somebody, man, who think it's scripted, man?
Man, I would say, I'm not gonna say it's scripted, but it wouldn't surprise me if calls aren't made like, hey, you gotta call a little bit more fouls. Right? And because this is a business, right? They market in the product. If that product isn't interesting when you log on or when you go in to look at it, they're gonna watch something else.
Right.
So I don't think they tell who's gonna win the game. But if you have a game where the team that won, let's just say, got 10 fouls called on them the whole game, and the team that lost had 30 fouls called on them.
Yeah, that's pretty lopsided, huh?
It's pretty lopsided.
Yeah.
So the call might come in and say, hey, you gotta get this a little bit tighter and more even on each side. Or maybe swing it the other.
But influence the game how you
influence, because a ref can influence the game by how aggressive he letting players play and what he letting them get away with. So if you in a game and they ain't calling nothing, it's just like, all right, I'm gonna have to get this from the mud tonight.
Yeah.
Or
it could get in your psyche.
It could get in your psyche, like, yo, man, I'm, especially if you're an all-star or all NBA player, and you ain't getting the calls that you normally get.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you tripping, and you calling every foul on us on the other end.
And you could set it up that way, because if you don't call it, and you know that it's going to cause them to have an attitude, in the deciding moments of the game, it's easy to throw that tag. So yeah, the refs can control a lot.
Yeah, they can control a lot. And then the other thing is, and I hate to say it, because I feel like it ruins sports, man, but it's a lot of money on the line.
A lot of money on the line. You can win, but you got to win by this margin. It's entertainment too. It's entertainment.
I mean, is it a WWE? No, it's not scripted like that. But I believe it. It can be heavily influenced. I mean, that's no different. We're talking about basketball. What do you think about in football?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You can have a team, man, can't move the ball all game defense, and then all of a sudden just open up because of the calls and I see it too much, man. Some of it is obvious,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, because who falls asleep like that? How can you be up, especially in football, man?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and even for the Celtics last night, 2 games in a row, you was up 20 points.
Yeah, you two got too good of a roster, man. Too solid of a roster, man. You
Yeah, to
got
be losing.
all stars, man.
Yeah, to be losing like that. So the other crazy thing is, did you see the bet that Paul Pierce made?
What, that he would walk home?
That he would walk from his house
Uh-huh.
to the production studio with his robe on and no shoes.
Get out of here, man.
Man,
No.
he walked 7 hours a day from his house to the thing. Had recorder, recorder. He said, they was like, what's the first thing come to your mind? He sat there. He said, I bet y'all won't make no bet like that no more.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, he bet that one with his heart, man.
He did,
Celtic, man.
He did, man. But what was solid was that on the run, I mean on the walk, Keyshawn Johnson, who we on the show with, stopped, gave him some water, and then then big ticket Kevin Garnett rolled by and was like, "What you doing, man?" He's like, "Man, I'm walking to the crib." He said, "Hey, be careful out here. Hold your head."
Skirt on.
Rolled out on him, man.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Rolled out on it.
Yeah. So man, this weekend, man, it's a huge weekend, man, for the mothers. You know, it's Mother's Day coming up. Approaching.
It's this weekend?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
Oh,
it's this weekend.
Nah, I know it.
I guess. Yeah, it's this weekend, man. So first of all, shout out to mothers, man, all the mothers, man, that's out there watching. Hey, we salute y'all. You know, we know mothers make the world go round.
For
And
sure.
to everyone who doesn't have their mom here, you know, keep them alive in your heart. Happy Mother's Day to them too. Around Mother's Day, man, it's always a huge debate, man.
So before we get into this, do we shout out the dads as being the mom and the dad too?
Like, nah, man. Nah, let them have that day. Man. We gotta let them have that day, man. Listen.
Yeah, let them eat, let them live.
Yeah. But yeah. So Mother's Day. When it comes to honoring the moms and gift giving, and you have adult kids, right? Is the responsibility the husband or the kids' responsibility to make pamper the mom on Mother's Day?
So it's different. So as the kids are growing up, I think it's the dad's responsibility because we setting the standard of how you. These are the things you should be attentive to what your mom likes and wants. Make mental notes or take physical notes of the things that she says she would like to have or do throughout the year.
Right.
And you plan it and you make that day about her. Right.
Right.
So if it's like I know my wife's like a clean, she want to come home to she want to have a clean house and she'll want to relax. So it's like, hey, starting Friday, start getting everything in order. So Saturday, Sunday morning when she get up, house clean, she ain't got to worry about doing nothing. She can sit in the bed, relax. My wife loves breakfast. I'm not a big breakfast person, but if she could choose, it'd be breakfast or brunch. And so, it could be, hey, I want to fix mom a nice breakfast so we can eat in. So she's sitting in the bed, chilling, watching TV or whatever, and we, doing it up for her. Okay. And then the gifts are things that are for her. I mean, not things that's for the house or
you can't get a vacuum.
No, you can't get it back. You can't get it back. Mother's Day is the selfish day for mom, right? Yeah. Whatever she personally wants, that's what she get. Now, a clean house that benefits everybody, but it's mentally it benefits her more than anybody. to know, hey, I ain't gotta do nothing today. Hey, y'all got everything.
So I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. While they're young.
I agree with what you're saying. While they're young, right? But when you get to that phase where you have children that are employed,
mm-hmm.
children that are buying Jordans and purchasing things for themselves all throughout the year, while mom and dad still supports them. When it comes to Mother's Day, do you feel like it's something like as the husband you just fall back and say, because I'm gonna do something for my wife because she's been a mother. She's not my mother, but she's a mother. Now, what I do for her may not be a grand gesture like
it was
how it was before, right? Because I have adult kids, and I would hope that they would step it up for their mom.
See the example that you set,
and go all out, right, for mom. Whatever that looks like to them, because moms, they got a way of everything's meaningful to them. This is because it's the thought,
right?
But you want the kids to have the thought,
right?
And if they don't, do you just fall back and watch the day go by and not?
I think you always got to have a contingency plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't let Mother's Day go up in flames, man. Because even though she's not your mom, you gotta deal with the wrath.
But why would you have to deal with the wrath? You gotta get on the phone and you gotta call them chilling. You gotta call them chilling, man. Yeah.
Hey, but that's and then sometimes it could be a little bit of coaching. It could be you waiting for phone calls, trying to look at text, see if they have anybody made any plans on what you're doing or whatever. Then maybe it's Saturday morning. Hey, I just want to know what you guys' plans is tomorrow for mom. It could be something as simple as that.
Yeah.
Like this is like, hey, what's up? What we doing?
Right. When you gonna bring your mom's socks to the house and drawers? Oh, that's Father's Day. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, moms ain't getting them kind.
No, moms ain't getting.
Never, man. Never.
No,
not a chance.
But yeah, I mean, at a certain point, I feel like it's the kids, responsibility. But as a group effort, man, we always gonna make mom feel special, man.
Right.
Make mom feel special.
And until it gets to the point where it's just like, okay, now they calling me, telling me, hey, tell mom, just put on something real nice. We got reservations for X, Y, Z.
I mean, oh yeah. Yeah, but that would make me proud as a father too, to see them take that type of initiative.
Right? Hey, you did something right.
Yeah, that's it.
Or she did something right.
Exactly.
She poured enough into them that now the one day that she has to herself, they want to make her feel like a queen, as they should.
Right. No doubt.
So, I think we had this conversation before. Nah, I'm gonna leave it alone.
Nah, go there, man.
I'm gonna leave it
go
alone.
There.
I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone, man.
Come on, man. Go there, man.
So, as a husband, you got grown kids. So this is more of a question for you.
Okay.
All right. It's Mother's Day. Do you spend your day with your wife, or do you spend Mother's Day with your mom?
I get bailed out right now because my mom is not here and like in this state. She's in another state.
Right.
So it's gonna be wiping. Now when they both was here, I made it a conscious effort to try to combine the two. So I'm taking them out, or we all going out. But at the end of the day, my responsibility is to my mother. So if I had to choose on that day, I have to go with Mom Dukes.
Hey, and I'm telling you, if you happen to see Troy on the day after Mother's Day with a lump right here, you know what happened.
Yeah.
You know what happened.
Oh, what can you do in that situation though? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, to be honest with you, man, it feels like a lose-lose situation for you. Because what your mom may want to do, like when you're trying to combine it.
Uh-huh.
So when my mom was alive, my mom loves seafood. So I could go to the Red Roost, Old Mill, anywhere where we can do all you can eat. Crab, shrimp, snow crab legs. She in heaven.
Right.
My wife would care less about seafood. So I'm combining. My wife is going,
but she's not feeling.
But this isn't her idea of a Mother's Day dinner because she don't like that kind of food. She don't want to be all messy, stinky. I mean, she'd rather go to a real nice Italian restaurant or have go to a really nice like Mexican restaurant. So, I mean, that's what she would more like to do if we was going to go out to dinner. And so to me, it really was that. That's why I asked that question, because it was always a balance in that. Like, okay, this is my mom, you know what I mean, but this is my wife, the mother of my kids, and I can never repay her for that.
Right.
I can never repay my mother for giving birth to me either.
But think about this too. You live with your wife. Yeah. So you can make that up on a Tuesday or any time.
Hey, moms out there, can you make it up on a Monday or Tuesday? If your husband got a wife, if your husband's mom is alive, and he take her out and leave you with the kids, and y'all figure it out, can he make it up on Tuesday? We just want to know.
Well, and then you got to think about it. Your wife has a mom, right? So that's probably opportunity for her siblings, if they got to do something for their mother. So it could get complex, but it don't have to be that deep. It could be simple as hey, you spend time with your mom, or spend time with mom. We'll do something later.
Right. So for you fellas, if you got a young wife, if you're married, you got a young wife, I'm just gonna give you some game. Make sure your wife happy on Mother's Day. Make sure your wife is happy on Mother's Day. Yeah. Because you gotta live with her. You gotta get in that bed. You know what I mean? And you don't know how long she can hold on to that.
And on the other side of the coin, if you gotta drop them kids off at mom's Monday, you better make sure mom happy. You better make sure grandma and your mom happy too.
Yeah, and so they both gotta be happy. Right?
Yeah.
But you can't, even though she your mom, you can't neglect your wife and the mother of your kids.
I agree.
You can't neglect the mother of your kids. Yeah. But treat the queens like queens on Mother's Day, and I hope you guys find a way to figure it out and balance it out.
Yeah. Now,
the best thing to do would honestly for you to have something at the crib.
That's what I say. Combine the two. I became a master at that. That's what. Yeah. Listen, we're gonna have something for all the mothers. Now we invite every mother in the family, and
let's do it up.
Let's do it up, because it could become a financial burden too.
So that's why it's crazy, because that's what we were doing with the seafood restaurants, but now those same meals per person is like $70 a person.
Yeah.
I got my wife and 4 kids.
Whew.
I got, my grandmother, my aunt, my cousin, he got 4 kids. My dad. So like, because we do always combine it, between my mom's family and then my wife.
Right.
They do combine it. And when we don't go out to eat, we go to somebody's house and they prepare something.
Right.
So it's either me doing it, my dad doing it. Sometimes her uncle, he'll do something like a brunch or something like that. So it usually is always a collective effort. And that's why it's important to, have good family ties, so that you can tie all of those things.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Not break the bank.
And then, being a young man, starting out, you married, and it's the first of the month, it's the beginning of the month, you're paying bills, so the things that you want to do, you may not be in a financial way to do it.
Right.
I think it can become a struggle on young men to try to, be creative and find something to do that's not going to require a lot of money, because we know it costs to do a lot, and that can affect how a man acts. You know what I mean? Even if it's like around Mother's Day or holidays, you might see him change up. You might see his attitude. You might be a little testy. You might get a little distant. But that financial aspect of it can really cause, you know what I mean, some type of friction or
Yeah. And not yeah, distance. I wouldn't say friction. It could be distance. And like from a from a male perspective, I mean, because we are men, I would say it's more of a because let's face it, I'm in I'm in real estate. I've been in it for 22 years, and 5 years into it, the financial crisis hit.
I was
Uh,
there.
yeah,
I was there.
yeah, the
Mm,
financial crisis hit, and you go from making really really good money to like, yo, this ain't looking good, right?
mhm.
And the issue isn't I'm not working hard. The issue is that it's 10 times harder to get somebody to buy a house when they're not sure if they're going to have a job, right? And
Mhm.
so now the money that you used to bringing in, where your wife didn't have to worry or anything like that, you had to save and saved up for a rainy day.
Mhm.
And this turned into a rainy week.
Whew.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like boom, you see the savings go down, you see the savings continue to go down, and it's like, yo, like I'm doing everything that I can. That emotionally plays a toll on a man who wants to provide for his family.
Certainly.
It has nothing, it has absolutely nothing to do with the woman that he's with, the wife that he has. It's about the standard that he has for himself as a man to provide for his family. And it's one thing if you're in a relationship where maybe you're a husband and you're not the breadwinner, but all of the other things that you provide uh, garners the respect
Oh
that
yeah.
you should get as a man. And but it's another thing when you are the breadwinner and you have those other intangibles that make you the head of the household. That when you stop making the money that provided for the family, and now you have to ask your wife to do more than what she was doing
Mhm.
because you're going through a slow patch, not for lack of discipline or grind or anything like that. It's just it's something that's out of your control. It really does it makes you feel like you're not living up to your end of the deal.
Yeah. But that's a different level of transparency though, even having that communication with your wife, say, hey, we're here financially, this is what's going on. And I need, for a while, I need you to step it up because a lot of men, they can't even voice that. It's like, okay, I got to make this happen.
Mhm.
So now, where you normally home at 7, you door dashing and you ain't home till 10, but you don't want to tell wife because, if they see you panic, and man, when we was young, I've been in some situations.
Right.
I've been in some financial situations where if I came home and said, "Hey, we might not have our house tomorrow," you know what I mean?
Right.
So I said, "Let me keep my mouth shut and let's make it happen."
Mhm.
But in her mind, she might say, "Okay, what's going on? He's different now.
Mhm.
He's not talking. He his attitude ain't right. He's distant. He's staying out later. Um, he's not asking me to go out on weekends. We normally go out on weekend. Whole time, you
You're
know,
stressed out.
I'm stressed. I'm trying to clutch on to this, little bit we do have.
Right.
And it's not, a lot of guys can't be upfront and say, "Hey, I'm struggling right now financially."
And that comes with growth. Because I mean, even for me, when that was happening, I saw it happening, but I should have verbalized it sooner than what I did.
Right,
Right.
right.
And so that's what I would say. It doesn't make you any less of a man, but if you with a partner that's in it to win it with you, and you tell them, it's just like, okay, what their response is going to be if you're with a real one. Okay, what are we going to do?
Right. Let's figure it out. And
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, I'm sorry. My gonna say 9 times out of 10. if you were the solid one anyway, they got something tucked somewhere anyway, man.
Yeah.
Listen, women are good at having something tucked, man. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You sitting here, you struggling, man. You want to do something strange for a piece of change, and she got a whole, couple stacks put back. But and it's okay because if you're a team,
Right.
that's what you do. When one of the teammates down, somebody else step up, say, "Hey, I got it." And then when we get back, it makes them want to shower you even more because you held it down when I wasn't, when I was struggling or trying to figure things out. But I think it had to go both ways, man. But
And it's crazy because sometimes men are telling. So you mentioned a couple things, but sometimes the biggest thing is the intimacy part. Like men will pull away from the intimacy just be. It's almost like you feel like you're hiding something.
well, it's
Because
like they can smell broke on you.
right, right. And so now her antennas is going up. Like, yo, this the Joker that usually won it every day.
Yeah.
He ain't even mentioned. He ain't even really got close to me in the last 3-4 days. Oh, it must be something.
Yeah.
He must got something out of these streets.
Yeah. And that's the first thing that they think, but they don't understand the pressures, man. I seen a guy said before. He said he just don't feel good when he don't have the type of money he think he should have. He said he think he might be a dollar betting, not a dollar betting, but a dollar betting. I felt that.
For sure,
I
for
felt
sure,
that, man. And it's not about the extras. I'm talking about when the finances and the get tight and you can't take care of the day-to-day essentials because that extra stuff you can plan that, you can do that later, but when you got to meet this obligation by the first and it's the end of the month and you still behind, it's over.
it is, man.
It's hard. And then the kids, it don't stop because now the money you do got stacked up. The kids got hat day at school. They got lunch day. They got eat. I mean, it's always something that requires money. So how can you laugh and smile and be happy?
Yeah,
and you dealing with that.
When you're dealing with that, and then when you at the point where that big old the change thing that you've been putting change in, like just tossing it in there. Now you taking a couple dollars out of there because it's like, man,
Yeah,
we gotta make this thing stretch.
And if you blessed enough to make it to the other side and get to the point where that's not a issue anymore, you always got to remember those times. And sometimes I get to spending and doing things, and nah, we gonna we still got to be smart,
right?
Because we know how it is, and we don't know how the economy and things are gonna play out. So you still got to keep that as the head of the household, not the breadwinner, but as the head of the household. You still got to be responsible for the direction. The household go financially.
And one last thing, I would say the transparency, man, that you can have with your wife, in moments like that it'll allow you guys to grow even closer.
Okay, no doubt.
Just because, I mean, you're in it together, right? And now you're collaborating to try to come up with any kind of idea to get the both of you, or to get the family, the unit, out of where we are to where we need to be, right? And just that ability to be able to just be vulnerable, and open up and like, man, I don't like where we're at. I don't like how I feel. I don't like how my business is going. And she's like, okay, let's figure it out, right? It's almost like that's when, I mean, for lack of better words, when you at the lowest with something like that, that's at the moment where God can just breathe right into your relationship.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And that creates an even stronger bond between the two of you, because your vows are for better, for worse, and for richer or poor, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
That's it,
right? And so you test it, and how are you going to respond? Because a lot of times, I mean, the highest rate for the highest reason for divorce is finances.
Oh yeah,
right? And usually that comes from not being transparent.
I had to give my wife her props though, man. it's a lot of things I don't express or tell her, and it's not even for a negative reason. It's for something positive because them same sentiments. If I come to her and say, "Hey, babe, my business, it's not going right," or this, that, my wife is a take action type of woman. If it comes out my mom, man, I might walk in the room. Hey, babe, I've been online. Look, we can do this. You can do this. And man, she's a solution. She likes to solve the problem. She always
Right.
come up with a solution. So I got to be careful of what I
What you put out there.
yeah, because she go right into action, and I love that about her.
Right.
But sometimes I'm like, nah, it's not that serious yet. But I
Right.
was just kind of
Yeah, voice of my
just
getting it off my chest.
just getting it off my chest.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, and this actually the next topic, but I feel like the environment that you set prior to those type of situations, like so you can be somebody's peace or you could be somebody's problem.
Mhm.
And I was watching a clip and the guy, they was asking the guy why when he get come home from work, why does he sit in the car? And
Mhm.
he said it could be for two reasons. One could be because I had a rough day dealing with the world, rough day at the job, some stressful things happen, and I don't want to take it in the house.
Mhm.
So he needs the debrief. Or it could be I had a great day, I'm in good spirits, and I don't want to walk in to the hell that's on the other side of the door.
Right.
And that's a bad position to be in, man. Like,
Right.
so it's important, man, for men and women to make your household like peaceful,
Mhm.
peaceful, and sometimes subconsciously, not even on purpose, you can make it uncomfortable with a bunch of people complaining and
Mhm.
what I mean, argument, or just bringing work home.
Right.
You man, I get dumped. My, my wife and I, we get so much dumped on us, man, dealing with people. You deal with people all day long, especially me being in customer service. She's a counselor, so she deal with therapy. She hear heavy stuff all day long, and you have to find a way to kind of say, you know what, for the few hours that we get to spend together, we're not gonna bring this into the house,
Mhm.
and it's hard. It can be challenging, man.
Mhm.
You know, but what's on the other side of that door, man? Peace or problems?
Right. Yeah, for sure. And um, I I think the key is you touched on it before is having those conversations when everything is okay, right?
Mm,
Not at times where you having that bad day, but just saying, okay, these are going to be the guidelines. If I know I've had a rough day, if I know I'm not in a good mood, I know it has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on at home, right?
mm-hmm.
And so you literally have to make that conscious decision that you're going to put that to the side and focus on what is in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
and not bring those problems and emotionally dump them,
Mm-hmm.
or allow for you to be in an emotional space where you're not treating them the way that you normally do because you're allowing this outside stuff to dictate
Mm-hmm.
your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's more of that than anything. Um, and that takes intention. You have to be intentional
Yeah. Yeah.
about not doing that,
Mm-hmm.
about coming home, and even if you need that 5 or 10 minutes just to relax, it may be 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Once you decide you get out of that car and go into that house, you got to be present and be available
Mm.
to the people who there's people in that house that didn't ask to be there,
Sure. Sure.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Facts.
there's people in that house that made it a choice to be with you,
True.
right?
Facts.
And
Facts.
so you have to make the choice to be there for them, right?
No doubt.
And not saying that you don't ever have those conversations, because it could be, hey, after you come home, you present, dinner, whatever your routine is, kids go to bed,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be 10 or 15-minute conversation, just you and the wife sitting in the bed. And it could start with a question. Hey, look, had a rough day today. You mind if I, just kind of get some of this off my chest? If the answer is yes, then boom, you do it. If the answer is no, okay, I understand. We can talk about it another time.
Yeah, yeah. Because sometimes too much is just too much.
Right. Because she may have had a rough day.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And you just happen to beat her to the punch. Like, hey, I gotta, and she be like, nah, not tonight. You know what I mean? And the decision that night, like, kiss on the cheek. I'll go watch the game, and you can watch TV, and then maybe we can chat it up in the morning or another day. And most times, if you make that choice, guess what? When you get up in the morning,
the issue don't bother you no more.
It don't even bother you.
You was giving it too much attention anyway.
Right.
Yeah, you was just giving it too
much.
Let
that thing breathe, man.
Yep.
Let it breathe.
That's good stuff right there. Yeah, y'all let it breathe, man. And sometimes, man, we gotta control the things we can control. If it's something out of our control, man, crying on somebody else's shoulder or something, it's not gonna change it.
Right.
It is what it is, man. Take it to somebody who really the one, the source. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what we gotta learn to do. No doubt.
So, man, we had this conversation before. Just because my wife's a cosmetologist. I used to be a barber, but just in the service industry, like waitresses and things like that. If you know somebody who doesn't tip, does that affect you wanting to help them in other areas of their life?
Me personally, I mean, I would say no. It wouldn't affect what I want. Because most time when I do something for somebody, I do it out of love. I do it for the kindness of my heart, and it's not what you do for me while I'm doing it for you. So, I mean, long you're not shorting me. That's one thing. You're not giving me what you owe me. That's one thing.
Right.
But if you give me what you owe me and you don't give me anything extra, you're not tipping. And nah, I'm still willing to help. I'm still willing to go over. I think anybody should. I mean, if you got a job, first of all, you have a job description. It's a certain standard that you have to meet, regardless of if you're gonna get tipped. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like having a barber. If you cut somebody's hair and this say if the guy come every week and you know he don't tip, that haircut still came from you. When you walk out there, if you start laughing, you say, "Oh, he ain't tipping. I'm just gonna have him get him out of here." When somebody asks him, "Yo, who cut you up?" It's still you.
It's still you.
Yeah. So you can't hold back on what you're supposed to be doing because somebody's not tipping. I mean, in the back of your mind, you always gonna be like, "Yeah, this cheap joker."
Right. So let's just take that in perspective. So we both have I mean, ain't no way to really put it. I mean, it's hypothetical, but let's just say, all right, let's just say you was a barber and you was cutting hair and the guy wasn't tipping, right? But you and this guy has a daughter. This is when your daughter's younger. This guy has a daughter, maybe 2 years younger than your daughter, right? But she's and it's school time and you going through the closet, you find clothes still got tags on and stuff like that, and come to your head like, oh yeah, that dude got a daughter that I could probably get his stuff too. Would that thought of like, man, this joker don't even tip me, would that affect you giving him those clothes?
No. I almost would compel me to give it to him because I'm thinking, man, if this joker that tight on dollar, he might need the extra help. Now, there are people that I watch that you consider them as get overs, like they're always in the line to get the handout. Now, them, I sit back and like, nah, they're not getting it. But because they don't tip, nah. That would, I don't think that would affect me, man. Because I think tipping, like we discussed before, that's one of them things, man. That it has to be voluntary. It has to be something you want to do. And I don't think anybody should expect it. If you get it, great. It's an added bonus. But if not, as long as you paying me,
I'm good.
I'm good. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and even me as a barber, some guys, I hear on social media, they don't tip. My perspective on that is if you upset. So there's different businesses. So like you got a barber, hair, a cosmetologist, an esthetician, um, nail shop, but then you have people who work in the food industry, waiters, right? Their hourly wage is extremely low because it's kind of calculated that the rest of the income is going to come off the tips, right? So that's how they're paid. Those other people set a rate of what they want to get paid.
Right.
So if you upset that they not tipping, then maybe you should raise your prices.
Right. Build the tip inside of the
Build,
price.
yeah,
It's your
build tip.
business.
So that way, if they tip, okay, great, it's a bonus. But if they don't tip, I still got paid what I felt like this cut was worth.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just the way that I would look at it, and it wouldn't bother me. To me, I asked that question, just to see what your opinion on it. But I think we share the same opinion on it. It wouldn't affect me if I had, like, with my kids, if they grew out of some clothes and I was cutting hair and the guy didn't tip. Well, if I know you got young kids, and I'm always trying to find somebody who I can help
Yeah.
and give the stuff to. If I can give it to them, I'm gonna give it to them.
Right.
Right? It's not
Yeah.
going it's not going to affect me. But what I mean, I didn't know, maybe you had a different perspective on it.
I got a different perspective on just tipping while we're on the subject anyway now. It kind of go along with what you're saying. And I think a lot of businesses and people are doing that now, building that tip, the gratuity and everything in. But I think a lot of businesses are pricing themselves out too. Because it's a lot of restaurants that was my go-to, reasonable. I know, okay, we're not going to sit down and do fine dining. I'm just going to eat here tonight. Where there was quick little grabs, and I knew a certain dollar amount. This is going to feed both of us. And they done shot their prices up to the roof. Now they done price me out because it's not a quick little grab no more.
Right.
Now, yeah, you charging me top dollar. So
you gonna go skirt the Taco Bell then?
Yeah, no, I'm going. If I'm gonna pay top dollar, I'm gonna eat top dollar. I'm not going to your diner and paying you the same price as what. Nah, I just can't do it. But I see a lot of people doing it now. They them prices, man.
It is, man. And I mean, you can link social media to a lot of things, but I think a lot of people are saying stuff on the screen and they thinking it's for real, and and it don't be for real, man. It don't be.
Right.
That life that you chasing, I'd say 80% of the time it ain't what you think it is.
And they need a behind the scenes, man. They gotta have a Facebook, Instagram, what you call behind the scenes page. I bet you jokers quit following half of the people.
Real day in the life.
Yeah.
Real day in the life.
Yeah.
It's cool. So what else you got, man?
Oh man, wonderful world of real estate, man.
Okay.
Oh, so it's summertime, man. A lot of people are putting, the pools, finishing their projects, man, putting additions, decks, and all that on the house. How does that affect the value of the home, or does it add value to the resale of the home?
So I would say in most cases, I'd say 80% of the cases, building a deck or a patio is not going to add value to the home. It makes it more sellable.
Okay.
Right. And so when I say more sellable, it means somebody's coming in. Let's just say you got a nice paver patio with the grill insert in it. Might have an outdoor sink, and the house across the street got just a regular deck. Right. When somebody goes out there, aesthetically, it looks so much nicer. It probably costs you double what the deck is, but it's not going to add that. Let's just say you pay $10,000 for the deck, $20,000 for the pavers. It's not going to add $20,000 in value to the house, right? What it does is, if you're competing with that house, it's going to make your house stand out,
Right.
right? That's the same thing a really nice pool in the backyard does. With you might have concrete surround, maybe a little gazebo or something like that. Really nice hardscape, with a pool, in-ground pool. You got to think there's some families that don't even want a pool. They don't want the maintenance. They don't want the upkeep. They might got young kids. They might be scared of water, right? So now the house that you spent $50,000-$60,000 on putting a pool in, half the market doesn't want it, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And you're not going to get that $50,000-$60,000 out of it. You might get 20% of that out.
They don't see the value because
It's personalized.
personalization.
Yeah, it's personalized.
Mhm.
So if you spend 60,000 on a really nice landscape backyard with a pool, nice hardscape going around it, you might get 15-20% of that out. So you're gonna get maybe additional 12 grand or something like that out of the sale of your house because you have that. So, but the plus is for the people who want that,
It makes it very desirable.
it makes it very desirable
Okay.
because they know, like, hey, this pool setup probably costs about 60 grand, and they only asking $10,000 more than that house across the street, and I get the pool.
Yeah.
I'm taking it,
Okay.
right? And so that's where it comes in at. So a lot of times, just keep in mind that things like that are really personalized. There's certain things that you'll be able to get a little bit more back on, like a paver patio or a deck, just because the cost of it isn't as much. You can get a little bit back on that, but it's still not going to be the value as what you put into the initial install of it. It never is. The best return on any house typically is 20-30%, and that's kitchens and bathrooms, right? You recoup 20-30% of what you put into it.
Okay.
You never recoup 100% of what you put in.
Right.
Something like
Right.
that.
It's just not gonna work.
It just don't work like that. It just makes the house more sellable, and you have to understand that. And a lot of times I think people do that and they don't understand that. Really, a lot of times you're eating into the overall. When you overdo it, you're eating into the extra equity that you have in the house. Because a lot of times people are going to take a line of credit or something like that, and they're going to do the really nice pool, and they're going to do all the hardscaping. And a lot of times they're thinking, we're going to be here forever, right? And they end up not being there forever. 4 or 5 years down the line, they selling it and they out. And so I advise people to, whenever they do that, it's to always talk to a real estate agent before they do it. That way they know that the money that I'm putting into this, I'm not going to get out, but it is going to make my house more sellable. And if they're okay with moving ahead at that point in time, hey, make a backyard oasis.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tell me, you figure, man, 20% and years of memories and enjoyable times. It could be worth.
Right.
If that's not your main concern, is having it as a cash out investment.
Right. Yeah, because if you love having family over, a nice pool, gazebo, outside grilling station. I mean, your summers is full with memories.
That's it.
Right. And even if it's 5 summers, it's like, so what? I don't care. Like I didn't want to spend the money to go to the beach. I wanted my family to be able to come over, have a good time. I wanted to spend it with the people I love.
Let's do it.
It's worth it. It's worth it to me. So.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. So I think that's it, man.
It's good stuff, man.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, so we appreciate y'all for tapping in with us again. Comment, like, share, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, especially Instagram, because now the post is coming over there like everywhere else. So, again, follow us on there. We tapped in on that platform as well. Help us run this thing up. And as always, thanks for tuning in.
Tap in.
Tapped in. Peace.